Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today we're doing a top 10 list. We are doing my top 10 games to play around Halloween time. Top 10 games, spooky games. It is spooky season is upon us. In my game group, we tend to try to play some horror themed games around this time of year, September and October. We play spooky games, Halloween or horror games year round. But September and October, we really try to play a lot of these spookier games, get into the theme of them, so to speak. And horror is some of my favorite movies out there. I like horror movies. I like horror books. I like horror board games. As far as board games go, there's never been a board game that I played that actually scares me like a movie would or like a book would. It doesn't give me that kind of feel, but I still like the theme in board gaming for horror. If you have played a board game that actually scares you, make sure to comment it down below because I would love to play that particular game. And so when I made this list, I really wanted good games, obviously, that have the horror theme, but I wanted games that bring me into the theme more so than other games. Because there's a bunch of horror themed games that are like, okay, they're fun and stuff, but they didn't give me that feel. It didn't put me into that state of mind. And I've got a couple quick honorable mentions here. First is Don't Mess with Cthulhu, which is like a social deduction game. It's one of my favorite social deduction games, but the reason why I didn't make the list is because it doesn't put me into that theme, actually. I mean, it's got the Cthulhu horror theme on top of it, where, there's cultists and stuff like that. But do I feel the theme in it? Not really, but it's one of my favorite social deduction games. The other honorable mention is Dead by Daylight, which I didn't make this list because I've only played it once, and it was just this last week. But I enjoyed it quite a bit, and it felt like the killer was going around trying to kill us and everything like that. It gave me that feel of that game. It gave me that feel. So, but I've only played it the one time, so I didn't want to make this list. Plus, it's so new, and I've only played it once. So yeah, those are two honorable mentions. Now let's get into my actual list, starting with number 10. Number 10 is a zombie-themed game. This is Dead of Winter, a crossroads game. Now, you are a group of survivors, and there's zombie hordes coming you wave after wave, sort of, and you're trying to, stop them from killing you, obviously, but you have to go out and collect supplies. And the theme really comes out in this one because there's a lot of narrative. And it is kind of a tongue-in-cheek, silly sort of, there's a lot of silly things that can happen in this game. But it gives me that theme, it gives me that feel, and it's one more that instead of horror, it gives me like a sort of a funny sort of feel because there's some funny characters and stuff like that, but it has that horror zombie theme on top of it. And so number 10 is Dead of Winter, a crossroads game. Going to number 9. Number 9 is a space game, so to speak, because it happens in space. This is Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game. And terrible name of game. But in this game, it's the Alien franchise. The Alien IP is attached to this one. And you are trying to fend off and kill the aliens. And there's this sense of foreboding because the aliens are moving through the vents up top, and you don't know what's coming to you, but there's something coming to you. Whether it's a big bad alien or some other bad things are going to come towards you. And it gives me that sense of feel. It really gives me that sense of being in the movie Alien, trying to go around and survive, but killing these aliens off as well. So number 9, Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game. Going to number 8. Number 8 is a game that's similar to Dixit almost in a way. This is Mysterium. In Mysterium, one player plays as a dead character, and they're trying to give hints throughout with these cards. Who their killer is, where they killed them, and with what item, kind of sort of like a clue system. But they're giving you these like weird abstract sort of cards to try to point you towards the killer. And the ghost can't talk at all. And if you really want to get into the theme, you can really get into the theme for this particular game. It's a pretty popular game, and not many people play it anymore because it is getting pretty old now, but it's one that I still really enjoy to break out at this time of year. So number 8 is Mysterium. Going to number 7. Number 7 is the newest game on this list. This is Stranger Things Upside Down. This has obviously got the Stranger Things IP attached to it, and I like Stranger Things. I think it's a great show. And in this, you are trying to move around the board. It's a cooperative game. You're trying to find Will, but at the same time, you're trying to fend off these bad things that are happening. The Demogorgon is stalking around the board, hurting you and hurting other people. And then there's the vans that are moving around the board. I can't remember what they're called, what that group is called, but they're moving around trying to stop you and doing bad things to you. And it's just a fun game. And you are just flipping over these stacks, trying to play cards to beat the number on these stacks, basically. And that doesn't sound so thematic, but the game, when I'm playing it, it feels thematic. You are going around getting friends, getting allies, getting items to help you defeat the different things. Your friends and allies are going to give you some sort of special ability as well. And it puts me into that Stranger Things IP really well for being just a game about flipping over stacks of tokens. But fun cooperative games. So number 7, Stranger Things Upside Down. Going to number 6. Number 6 is the Bloody Inn. In this game, you're basically playing as Norman Bates. You are running a hotel. People are checking in, but sometimes they might not check out because you are killing them. But then there's going to be cops that are going to be coming around, checking around. And if you have a body lying around, you're going to be losing this game. So you have to kill people, but you also have to bury them. And it's got this weird, grim, cartoony artwork that I think works really well for this particular game, this particular theme. I really get into the theme. I love the theme as grim and dark as it is, killing these people. I really like that. And it's a game, I always forget about this game until it comes to this time of year. I really like this game as a solo game, but it also works well as a multiplayer game. So number 6, The Bloody Inn. Going to number 5. Number 5 is a big, long game. This is Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. This is an app-assisted game. It's got the Cthulhu theme on it, and you are just going to be going around this map, this board, and doing certain objectives depending on which scenario you're playing. And it's, you have cultists, and you have old ones, and Cthulhu, and all that other stuff in this game, and the app works really, really well. It's one of those games that the theme really pops for me. So number 5, Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. Going to number 4. Number 4 is a game, it's not scary at all, but it's a very fun cooperative game. This is Horrified, and I'm in this particular essence, I'm talking about the Universal Monsters Edition. So you are playing as these townsfolk trying to kill off like the Universal monsters like Dracula, or there is Frankenstein and his bride. There is the Invisible Man. There's like 6 different monsters from that Universal monster universe. And I said it's not really a scary game at all, but I like the theme attached to it a lot. And it's just a fun game. It's one of my favorite cooperative games ever. The Greek edition of this, the Greek Monsters edition, just came out. That one, I'm about to review that one as well. But it's just a really good game with that Universal Monsters theme attached to it. Going to number 3. Number 3 is a Pandemic game, actually. This is Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu. I wouldn't say pretty much, I don't feel the Pandemic games are that thematic. When I'm playing Pandemic, I'm like, I'm going over here and curing the virus over here. I'm just removing cubes. In this one, the cubes, the virus are cultists, and the cultists are spreading around, and then there's these Slogoths that are coming out, and they're activating these old ones, and old ones are coming out, and there's some kind of special ability that these old ones are getting, and eventually Cthulhu is going to come out, and Cthulhu comes out, you lose the game. This is one of the hardest Pandemics to me. It's one that I lose probably 80 to 90% of the time I play this particular Pandemic. But to me, it's the most thematic Pandemic. It's the one that puts me in the universe of Pandemic the most. And it's one of the hardest ones. So number 3, Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu. Going to number 2. Number 2 is a solo-only game that's very, very popular now. This is Final Girl. You are playing as the final girl in these horror movie tropes, You are against tropes like the Michael Myers, the Freddy Kruegers, the different, big killer slashers from the 80s and 90s. Those are the monsters that you're trying to verse. And you are doing this by playing cards, moving around this board, and rolling dice. It is a very luck based game, but it doesn't bother me like a lot of luck based games do because that theme comes out so much in this one. I love the theme of this one. It really shows itself. And this game is actually based on another game called Hostage Negotiator, where you're trying to like rescue hostages in that game. And it's very, very similar to that game, except this one has a board, but it's very similar to that game, and I hated that game. I didn't like that game. I played it a few times and I got rid of it. I played Final Girl a couple times and then I bought more and more expansions for it because I liked it so much, because that theme came out so much for this game. So number 2 is Final Girl. And going to number 1. Number 1 might be my least favorite game actually on this list. It's a game that I do like, of course, but I like the game because of the theme, because the theme comes out so much to me, more so than the mechanics of this. Number 1 is Arkham Horror, the card game. It's another Cthulhu-based game, and it's a card game, but it's more like a board game. You're going to be moving around your characters across all these cards, and there's a lot of theme in this game. There's a lot of narrative in this game, and I love hearing about it and reading it, and it gives me that scary nature of the game, and like, oh, this cultist just popped up over this lady. Who's this lady? We have to go investigate who this lady is and what she wants. And I love the narrative in this game. The mechanics are okay to me. They're a little bit fiddly here and there, but I love the theme so much in this game that I play this game way more than I probably would if it had any other theme attached to it. So number 1 is Arkham Horror, the card game. And that is this list. Make sure to comment down below. What are the games that you are playing this Halloween? Games that put you into that spooky season sort of feel. Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care.